After a moment of silence, I'm going to ask our student board member, Emma Gooch, to lead us in the pledge.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good job. We want to welcome Mr. Andy Hare. And we have an hour and a half, so take us up to an hour and a half.
Got
it. If we get done early, that's okay. Ms. Gooch is going to ask a few general questions, and we'll go to criteria number 1. And we're just going to ask all of those tonight instead of last night when we switched. Everybody will finish each of their criteria questions, and we'll be done.
Fantastic, thank you.
Or, thank you. All right.
So question number 1, what would you do to maintain a positive climate in schools?
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you all for letting me do this and give me the opportunity to speak to you all tonight and be considered for this position. School climate is so important, and it's vital to all of us involved. Now, some of the things you can do, I'll just give you some examples of things that I've done, especially at my school. I Principal Sullivan East, I was Principal David Crockett, and I wanted to make sure that they knew that I was all in. And so it started with me and my attitude and the way I did things. If I did things right, I would expect other people to follow suit. And if I led that way, they would follow suit. But some of the things we did, I do a message every week on our YouTube channel. You can take a look at that and see some of the things we talk about. And it's all about positivity. We've instituted several programs that I'll talk about later involving character education and pride in your community and representing each other and being unified. We call that Pride Time, and we've created what's known as the Patriot Way. Each letter, the word patriot stands for a different maxim that we know that all patriots can become. We have catchphrases that we use every day. At David Crockett High School, every day when we would do announcements, I would say at DCHS, we educate for success. And everybody knew that went there. And so what it did, it brought everybody there together. At Sullivan East, it's I can't hide my patriot pride. And everybody knows that. And when they say that, it's all of us. Doesn't matter if they're a ball player, doesn't matter if they're popular, not popular, whatever. They all are part of that. And so those were some of the little things that I've done to help bring us together and maintain a little positive school climate. But I could go for days about that, some of the things that we've done. So, but I'll be quiet and get on to the next question.
Okay. Question number 2. What do you consider to be the major strengths that you bring to this position, and what do you consider to be your weaknesses?
Major strengths are, without a doubt, my passion and my creativity. I think I'm very creative, and I think I'm good at getting ideas and putting them into practice. And I think I'm good at driving things home. If I have something in my mind that I'm committed to, then we're going to get it done. And I'm not going to rest until it happens. I feel like that work ethic, that optimism, that passion that I bring, and getting people to believe in themselves, getting people to believe that they can do things that they didn't know they could achieve. I think that's a strength that I have. I think on the weakness end, I'm emotional. I'll be real. I am. When I'm happy, you know it. When I'm not, you know it. I know that that's things I got to work on. But I would say that's probably my biggest weakness is the emotional piece. So that's it. Thank you.
All right, is that it? So section number 1. Is that Ms. Buchanan? Tender?
What evidence can you cite to demonstrate you are an effective communicator?
Well, thank you. And of course, everybody knows communications is paramount. One of the things that we do, that I've done and have done, has been made a commitment to communication. It was one of the things I did when I became principal at Crockett was we're returning phone calls, we're returning emails. No matter how unpleasant we may think it may be, we're doing it. And what you find out is once you do it, it's not that bad. And people just need to be heard. People just want to let their voice be heard and know that you're listening. That's most important. So we've made that a commitment everywhere I've been. So when I have a teacher or an administrator that deals with a student, I want them to make that phone call and initiate that conversation. I want our teachers to call. I want them to initiate phone calls, communications, and dialogue. I want them to make positive phone calls. Parents need to hear us, not when their child did something wrong, but they need to know that they did something right. We've been huge with that. I think last semester, I'll just be honest, we made 5,000 phone calls last semester. That's not counting the phone calls that came in, nor the emails. But we go overboard with it almost, but I'm grateful that we do it. I do several things. I have a YouTube channel that we give our messages on. We are very active on social media. We do school messengers, of course, within my own staff. We do faculty meetings regularly, department head meetings. Like when we do a department head meeting or a faculty meeting, I send the agenda ahead of time. I want them to include what they want in there so that they know, so they're not caught off guard when we have that meeting. And if there's something important that they want to hear, then they'll add it to it. So those are just some examples that I do.
Tell us about an instance where you have been an effective champion of public schools.
Well, I think anybody that's been a principal during this pandemic could use the pandemic because we have had to step up more than ever before. Our responsibilities in public education have grown exponentially this last 10 months. We always knew we did things that no one else did, that we took on challenges that no one else would take on. We take everybody, and we're proud of that. But during this pandemic, we've had to do so even more. And I think all the things that we've done, just some little examples. I made a video on the Patriot Nation. It's set to some music, but it's like me jogging through the whole district carrying a flag. I wasn't cleared, by the way, for my surgery on my hip when I did it, but I did it anyway. But that just showed the community who we are and what we're representing. And we're proud of it. We're proud to serve this profession. So that's just a real quick example of something I feel like I've done to champion public education.
Thank you. Cite an instance in your current position that demonstrates your ability to build confidence in schools.
We have done a lot of things throughout my career as a principal. At David Crockett, one of the initiatives we wanted, we called it the Drive for Five. And the Drive for Five was, we wanted to be a level 5 school. We knew we were good enough. We knew we were capable enough. And I wanted those kids at Crockett to know that, daggone it, they're good enough. I didn't want them to believe that they weren't capable of things. They could achieve anything they put their mind to. And being a level 5 school was something they could do. And we got the little wristbands that said Drive for Five. We had a huge pep rally for it where some of our staff dressed up like Duck Dynasty members and came out and shot T-shirts out. Had a pep rally for it. And, we missed the mark that year. We became a level 4 school. But they're a level 5 school now. But I would like to believe that type of activity is what drove it to get to that point. But I've got a variety of things that we've done. I think what we're doing now at East with our Pride Time is special because we're taking 30 minutes once a week with each grade band, and we're talking about how we can be better citizens, better people. And again, it's unifying. It brings us all together because we're all in this going through this process with the same objective, and that's to be the best patriot we can be. So,
Thank you.
yes, ma'am. Thank you.
All right, sir. Think of a problem that was brought to you recently. What was the problem and how did you handle it?
Well, thank you. And that was, when I got these questions, I was thinking, in my role currently, I mean, it's day to day. There's, what do I focus on? But this is every day and every moment that we go through. I'm putting out fires. And that's what I deal with. So I'll just give you a real quick one, a real simple one. We had a situation in which a student misbehavior, the person contacted the parent, and they were rushed in a hurry and were pretty short and direct with them. The parent called back, upset, disgruntled with how they felt like they were treated. I made sure that I heard them. I apologized immediately, apologized multiple times. And then like they said, well, it's not your fault. It's okay. It's all right. I'm still principal here, and you feel this way. And they were heard, they were valued, and the conversation ended very positively because I took the time to take the call, to listen to them, which I think that's most of our jobs in leadership is to take the time and make that person feel valued. And that's what I did then. I had 3 incidents yesterday that I could go over that are very similar to that, that all ended the same way. They all ended well because of that, because we took the time to listen to them.
Could you tell us about the most important decision you've made recently and explain how you involve the people who would be affected by the decision?
Yes, I thought heavily on this one too. I think the biggest decision I've ever made in my professional career was in December of 2016 when I had to make a decision to vote yes or no on a $140 million bond issue to close 3 high schools and build a brand new one. And that was a difficult decision to make. And I voted in favor of it. It passed by 1 vote. And I'm glad I voted in favor of it. Now, how did I involve those that involved? I gave them a voice. I gave them a chance to be heard. We had 3 meetings in which people could come and express their concern in my district. And I listened to those and I made my decision based on what my constituents were asking for. And I feel like I made the right decision in that situation.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Hare, in your administration, what avenues are open for you to listen to the concerns of employees, staff, students, parents, and the community? And how would you plan to have time available for all involved?
Okay. Well, I think one of the biggest things that I bring to the table currently, where I'm at, is I'm present. I'm there. I'm accessible. And it's not just in the building, but it's everywhere I'm at. I mean, I live in the community. My kids go there. I'm all in. And so there's no excuse for somebody not to be able to reach me. I answer the calls. I answer the emails. We do a thing each semester called the Patriot PAC. It stands for Patriots Alumni Community. I stole that from Crockett when I was there. We had the Pioneer Parents and Partners. We just do basically the same thing where we have an opportunity for parents to come in. Anybody wants to come in. We give them an update on what we're doing at school and our vision, where we're going, and how they can help be part of it. So we do that. So we've got multiple medias out there where people can communicate if they don't feel comfortable calling or emailing or coming to a Patriot PAC meeting or even visiting the school. We've got social media. We've got Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. There's multiple ways that they can communicate with us.
And second question, give us an example of what you've changed your mind and taken a different course of action as a result of listening to others.
Well, that's a great question, because I think it demonstrates the person that's going to be sitting in that chair, the ability to listen and listen to people. I don't have all the answers. I've made a couple personnel decisions recently in which I did not go with the person I went into the process thinking I was going to go with, because I listened to them and I listened to those that it was going to impact. And boy, I made the right decision listening to them, because they've turned into be rock stars. And it just shows that I'm not the only one that's got a good idea. Other people do. And you've got to trust those people around you. And that was the best example I can give you, because we're all feeling the benefits of that where I'm working.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Hare,
Yes, sir.
describe the significant change that you, and say that word for me, Mary Beth,
Initiated.
Initiated.
in your district, and tell us what evidence you have shown and it was a positive change, and how did you build support for that change?
Okay, great question, and I'm excited to answer this one, but I want to go back to our Patriot Way initiative and our Pride Time that we did, and I've got data to support that. by doing these initiatives, we're bringing the students together, and we all kept singing the same song, and let them know that we're all part of this same team. Salt East High School that year led the district in attendance. That was in 2019. High schools don't lead school systems in attendance. They just don't. And we did. Why? Because the kids felt better about themselves. They felt comfortable coming to school. They felt safe coming to school, and so they were willing to come to school because they knew that it was probably better than where they were going, and they knew that there was going to be help there for them. I just feel like that was a tremendous positive impact, and we're still doing it, and I think it helps. And but the fact that they showed up, I mean, you get high school kids to do that, showing up more than elementary schools. Like I said, you can look at your own data. It's not going to happen. And I'm proud of that, and I believe that contributed to it. At the district level, when I was over student services, I was also over athletics, and so I wrote a handbook for all of our coaches to follow and our athletic directors to follow. It's still being used today. It's actually been expanded to involve all activities in addition to athletics. I'm proud of that, and we got better for it. We did, because now we all know there's no question what the expectations were from parents, students, and the coaches, because we spelled it out, and they followed it.
How do you keep up with the research and its initiative, I cannot say that word, that may drive change?
Well, I mean, I'm part of the National Association of Secondary School Principals, and they do a weekly update, news articles, etc. I mean, everybody can find a lot of information out there involving education. But the best way for me is to listen to people. Is to listen to people that's out there in the field. Those people that are behind me, they're out there doing it. To listen to those students. They're the ones. Now, every great thing that I think I've ever done professionally, every good initiative I've ever done, I got from listening to people that were working with me. They know what's best. Our teachers know is better than anybody what's working. So that's a big place that I like to go, is to figure out what's working and what's new. It's through our staff. It's the practitioners.
That's me, section 5. Okay, describe how you led a school or system in creating a vision and building support to accomplish that vision.
Well, I'll go back to the Drive for 5 initiative at Crockett, and how we created some things that to support that. We created, we called the achievement period. We carved out some time throughout the day and created an achievement period. And the purpose of that was for enrichment and remediation, and use that to help fill those gaps. We did that. We're doing what's called freshman transition now, and everybody's got a freshman transition, I think, but I think ours is more unique, because who has the highest level of discipline in a high school? Who has the highest level of attendance truancy in a high school? Who has the highest level of failures in a high school? It's your freshmen. And we'll just throw them to the dogs there, and I thought, well, we need to fix that. And so we created our freshman transition class, where we teach them how to be high school students. My stars, y'all remember being 14 or 15? Most of us don't want to remember, because it was horrible. And so we want them to have a decent experience in high school as a freshman, because if you start strong, you're going to finish strong. And we're going to see the results of that. You can tell the kids who are in that program, because they say hi to you when they see you in the hallway. They say please and thank you. They're picking up their trash. Just little things. It's amazing how much power that has.
Awesome. Okay, number 2, how have you used planning and goal setting to improve your school system?
Well, I go back to all these things that I've talked about, from Pride Time to STEAM Night to High School Readiness Night to Drive for 5. It's all came from planning and discussion, listening to the people that's working with you, who's got that next great nugget, and how they want to share it and do something with it. Boy, that's exciting when you see that passion in that teacher's eye or that principal's eye, when they've got something that they think that will work. Let's talk about it. Let's get it done. And we do that. We do that on a daily basis. We're always asking for the next great idea. We created a homework house the last few weeks through that, and now they stay 3 days a week to help close the learning gaps that we've had due to the pandemic. And Now they've come up with a pizza initiative with it. So, I mean, heck, I like pizza, everybody likes pizza. You know, if you show up to that, we're gonna feed you. If you feed them, they will come. I found that out. And we're seeing great results from that, great participation amongst the students. And that all came from the goal setting and the planning, working with the team.
Okay, how can diverse community groups be united for common cause?
Diverse groups want to be heard. They want to feel like they have a seat at the table. And it's up to us to provide that. It's up to us to provide that for everybody. I want to tell you a great thing about being an American. I love it, is the fact that we are a melting pot. We don't say you only can be this way. Nope. My immigrant family members came here in 1860 from Germany. They were glass blowers and came here to escape oppression. And I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful they had the courage and guts to come over here and do that. Couldn't speak a lick of English. Found a way through the army, fought in the Civil War. You know, that is who we all are. We all have that story in our background. So there's none of us have this figured out. But we do have ears, and we can listen to those people's stories to make ourselves better.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I've got number 6. Explain how you would develop a school system budget and tell us who you would involve and how you would involve them.
Yes, sir. One of the things that I've really enjoyed in my current role that we do that's different in Sullivan County is the principle is we create our own budget for our school. And I never got to experience that before. Well, that really helped me to understand how that process works. And so we then take that to our finance director and our director of schools and other department heads and work together with that. It's been a great experience for me. The communication piece is important with those people that are involved because we all can't just get what we want. Matter of fact, currently I was talking to a board member in my district and they asked me for my top 5 requests. They said, we'll try to get you 2 of them. And I appreciate that, but it goes to that open dialogue, that communication, and working with those people that are involved. You got to trust those people, like Mr. Hale here, he knows. Mr. Whitaker, he knows. Mindy, she knows. They all know. Those people that are controlling those purse strings, that we've got to trust them to be keeping an eye on things appropriately, and not just coming to you for any new requests just because they heard something sounds great. I said this downstairs, you know, the shiny penny spends the same as a regular penny. I mean, it does. We don't always have to get the nicest, shiniest thing. I mean, if we've got something that's working on it, let's keep working. Let's keep using it. So that goes through a lot of dialogue and communication. Sorry, I didn't mean to ramble on that.
No, you're fine. Our board is dependent on the county commission to fund the budget. How would you propose to gain their support of the budget, and how would you involve them in the budget development?
Working together with them through the whole process. I was a county commissioner, and I know I went through this process. Now, I wasn't on the budget committee, but I was on the executive committee, and I had to sit there and listen to the requests. I always wondered, why would they come to us why wouldn't they already know? I mean, we've got a pretty good idea of what revenues will look like or what needs will be. Why wait until they come and not have a clue how much they would have available to them, and just throw down and say, nope, go back, make cuts. I didn't like that. Here, I remember this as a teacher, as a young teacher, and as a citizen here. When I lived in Washington County and come to meetings, I loved listening to our director make presentations to the commission so they knew what was going on. They didn't need to be caught off guard. Nobody wants to be blindsided. Being part of the committee to build that budget, meets regularly. That's so important. It needs to be a fluid approach, and that would, I think it helps with relationship as well.
Okay. And my third, what steps would you take to ensure school funds are spent wisely and accounted for properly and in compliance with state and federal mandates?
You got to count on your department heads and your financial director. You have to. I mean, I went to school to be a government teacher. I've got expertise in certain areas, and I'm not an accountant. but we gotta count on those people that are. And that is so important, because at the end of the day, here's the reality of it. The person who sits in that chair, their professional life is in the hands of those people that work for them. And so we've got to have that trust.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Hare, thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you.
We're on to criterion 7. And question 1 is, how would you work with your board to be effective and respected by the community?
I think that's very important. I think the people that are electing board members or commissioners like to know that the people they're putting on there are great teammates and have a shared vision with the people that they're working with. I think that speaks volumes. And I think we can do that. I think that's awesome to see us working together. And we may not always agree with something, and we can have those conversations, but our goal, everybody in this room, is to make sure that students like that and others have the best opportunity possible. And if that's our focus and that's our vision, we're not going to fail. And I think that's one of the major ways that we can show that we're respected and that we're all putting our money where our mouth is when it comes to dealing with those young people.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Number 2, explain what you have done to build and maintain a good relationship with the board.
Well, communication, just like I was telling you, I was talking to a board member the other day, and he was asking me my list of 5 top needs right now. The fact that he was comfortable enough to call me and ask me for that, because I know they probably didn't call the other ones, but he also knows that I'm going to work hard for my school and my community, because I don't always just go asking for them for everything. I do things myself. I mean, I don't feel like everything is their responsibility, especially if you're hired for that seat. I mean, you've got to have a lot of faith in me to be able to do my job and make hard decisions. And the fact of the matter is, I've got to do that. And you've got to have that trust, and it comes from proving that you can trust me.
Number 3, how do you communicate with board members between regular meetings?
Variety of ways, whatever works for you may not work as well for Ms. Buchanan. She may want to be called. You may want just a text. Ms. Dellinger, she just may want an email. I don't know, but there's also certain times we've got to talk, and I think there's kind of levels. I do that as a principal. General conversation, general information goes through as email. More of a phone call is going to be a little more serious. But when we say we need to go meet, and we have to take that time, it's pretty serious that we need to do that. So I think we have those levels, but also what works best for you guys. That's something that you all would let me know. I would hope, because I wouldn't want to be disappointed there if you put me in that seat. If you would rather me call you all the time whenever I need to talk to you, then I'd like to know that.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Moi, we go to criteria number 8, please, Mr. Hare. And I'm going to ask you the last question first.
Okay.
Tell us a little bit, because we really didn't get a chance to hear from you front end on who you are and what you've done and whatnot. And that's okay. But give us, tell us about your level of expertise in elementary and secondary curriculum and instruction, and how you gained your experience.
Again, as a principal, I gained my expertise and my vision for how we want to build a program based on the needs that are out there through what my teachers have told me. They're the practitioners. They know what's working. Also,
I think the question is more designed to your personal experience and your experience as either a secondary teacher or an elementary teacher.
Oh, yeah.
So that's what, not really so much from the principal standpoint, but how did you get to where you are today?
I got you.
Okay.
Thank you. Thanks for that clarification, because I'm going around the horn on that one.
Okay. That's right.
I'm very blessed to have had amazing people in my life. I want to tell you, there's a group of us, and I counted 9, that went to Mary Hughes, graduated from Sullivan East, and are now principals or supervisors in a very, very small school that are all about my age. And I think that's fascinating, because it shows that impact, that influence that people through that process had on me. And it shows that powerful impact everybody that works in this profession has on those people sitting in our classrooms. It's exciting. We've got that chance to be that person. And I get to do that to this day. And I keep that in my head every time I go to work, to know that I have that impact on somebody, to change somebody's life for the better. And I was lucky to have that through the people that were my teachers. And they took their job serious, and they knew when they went in that room that they were going to give me their best that day. And that really made a huge impact on me. But I thought about that, and that is such a small number of people that have such a huge impact. You think about the thousands and thousands that those people have impacted because of their effort on people like me. That's
Without a
special.
doubt, teachers are the biggest influence.
Absolutely.
Everybody. I'll go to the next one. Okay, give us some specific examples of your experience in developing, implementing, and evaluating instructional programs, including CTE, and how that improved the educational outcomes for your students.
Very good. And the direction we're going as in education is paramount. It's paramount that we know and build programs that are effective. We don't just need to have a class because we had it in 1973. If there's no jobs that are associated with that program, why do we keep doing it if it serves no benefit? We have to evaluate every one of those programs, and you trust your people that are working in these departments, especially like in secondary, like with Dr. Keys or with Ms. Fink with the CTE, that they're keeping up with those trends and they're helping you keep up with that. Now, at my current role, I've been very proud of what work we've done there. We have, first time I went in that building, I walked in and I looked, I see a $2 million machine shop sitting there that nobody's using. I said, that's got to stop. So we created a machine shop program, and now it is tied in with the dual enrollment opportunities through Northeast State, and our kids can graduate with certificates in machine tool technology before they graduate East High School. And I'm proud of that. Those are giving kids opportunities they didn't have before. When I got there, we had a fire science program that was part-time. It's not now, it's full-time. Those students that go through that program can now get certified as a Fire Science 1 certified person. That makes them employable, and they are employed. And boy, they love being part of that program. It's fantastic. We have expanded our health occupations program because the nursing field is exploding, and our kids can go through that program. We've had to, like I said, add another program to that. And add a teacher. Don't you love when you know you have to add a teacher because the demand's so great? And that's what you want, but it's because we're being specific and intentional in what we're putting in place based on the needs that are out in the community.
You really kind of touched on these next ones, but the next question was, tell us of 3 curricular or instructional improvements that occurred as a result of your leadership, and what evidence do you have that they were improvements? So,
Well, I would like to add to that, if I may, in addition to the achievement period, and which is now a singleton, credit-bearing class, the achievement period to help with that Drive for 5 initiative and our freshman transition that we're currently working on. I want to expand that even more into a sophomore, junior, and senior experience class, because these seniors are getting ready to go into a really, really diverse world, and I want them to be prepared for it. But we also did an initiative, it was exciting. And unfortunately, COVID got in the way of this, but we did cross-curricular peer observations where we would take academic teachers and associate and match them with a CTE teacher or a fine arts teacher that closely benefited their academic class. And it was great for them to see, for a math teacher to sit in a machine shop class and see, oh, that is geometry. And vice versa, for the machine shop teacher to see what geometric equations we're learning in math class that day. I thought that had a lot of positive results. So that was something I was proud of. We're going to continue down the road.
thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am, I'm finished.
Okay, sorry.
Mary Beth.
I didn't get through. Okay, mine is criterion 9.
Okay?
Briefly describe an experience you have had with ineffective personnel and tell us how you resolved the issue.
I have had a tremendous amount of opportunity to do this, and I love doing it because we're just trying to find that success that's inside of each person. You know, people think, I'm going to be a history teacher. They may love history and have a tremendous passion for it. Doesn't mean they're a good history teacher. It's up for us to find what they're going to be great at. And we had an experience where I had a level 1 teacher. And it's probably not fair to use these numbers to clearly categorize somebody because these numbers can be misleading. But this was a level 1 teacher in that content, which they loved. They had a tremendous passion for it. So the fact that I knew that they had that passion for it, knew that we had something to work with. So we kept talking, what was working, what wasn't working, what I would like to have seen differently, them applying that. And that's just working as a team. And you know what? That person became a level 4 teacher that year. And it was because of that open dialogue that we had. And I was so proud of them. So we've been able to have several of those stories and just finding that place where that person can thrive. That's just so important. And it's a lot of trial and error that goes into that. So, I could talk for days about that, but I'm going to cut it there.
Okay, what have you done in your current position to ensure every employee is effective, and how do you determine which employees should be retained?
Okay. First of all, I've got to be present. I've got to be there. I've got to be in the building. I've got to be in the classroom. I've got to be having conversations with these teachers. And I don't know if there's a principal out there that would say they're in the classroom enough. We all want to be in the classroom more because we get those snapshots and we get to see. Listen, on a formal evaluation, the reality is everybody should be able to do well on an announced evaluation because they've been time to prepare for it and they know what's coming. It's those walkthroughs where you get to see the real magic or lack of happening. So I think that's very, very important. But I also believe in a direct conversation approach. I remember as a teacher, I couldn't stand when they get the shotgun approach, getting told because they were mad at somebody, and they yell at all of us. And I've done this as a principal, so if any of you are listening, I'm sorry. But it's more effective when you have that one-on-one conversation with that person about specifically what that was. So those are some things that I do.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Give some specific examples of things you have done as an administrator that you think significantly contributed to making your faculty or staff a team.
There's so many things that we do that I'm proud of that we get to do that I've learned. We not only, I mean, we do a monthly meeting where we come together, and I tell them, I don't care if we need to meet or not, we're getting together so you can see each other, you can talk to each other, because schools are set up to where it can segregate you. I mean, you look at the way the pod system is. They may not know somebody in this department may never even speak to this person. But we come together, we do that. I try to feed them as much as I can. We give them gifts, T-shirts, and try to just make them all feel like they're just part of a big happy family there, that they're part of something special and something bigger. And I have a cookout at my house. I didn't get to do it this year because of COVID, but I bring them over, we cook out, and I grill for everybody, and we just have a big time with that. But it also helps us whenever we have to have those real serious conversations, that they know that it's not me being a bad guy because I just want to rant and rage today, but it's because it's real, because they know me. They know me. So I think those things are very important to establish those relationships.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right, that concludes. Mr. Hare,
Thank you.
thank you for coming.
I appreciate you all. Thank you. It was a wonderful opportunity, amazing opportunity, just to sit here. I saw those candidates that applied for this job, and I'm like, wow, just to be able to be one of those 5. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, meeting adjourned.